season, previous season, that was against it.
Yeah, they just ripped it.
Have you noticed that?
Yeah, I have.
Obviously, no improved service, bro. It's the official Geelong Region Soccer Show Monday nights, 7 o'clock.
How's that going?
Oh, we get pretty good ratings actually, for like what it is.
What are you looking at?
We're just like hitting on like scores and results, and people are kind of like tuning in, a bit more gossip, because it used to be, remember it was always just like interviews with people?
Yeah.
I've got that one. Thank you.
I've always liked attention to gossip hour.
Yeah.
We're live from Los Angeles, California with
Oh.
for Sack.
Well, that's no hour. That's hour and a half. And tape as well to tape those notes down.
Yeah. Where do you tape them to?
I usually tape them to a board. Melbourne High, coach, board, coach and coach. And just tape it.
Oh yeah, check it on that.
And then you can pick it up and you have
Yes.
a table as well. So I was carrying. Do you get like an Uber here done or?
No, I
Drive like miles away in like weird towns?
I parked on 7th Street.
Same.
Yeah. Which, that's where I always park, because the car park is always full.
Yeah.
I also forgot my accreditation, so I had to pay donations to the Melbourne, which I was happy
They
to do.
would appreciate that. I'm seeing my pass from 2020, which they haven't given me a new one yet.
Oh, you still haven't got yours?
No.
The classic. Like break, it's like.
I think that's a good idea.
The F&R boys froth that video of Steve and the Rosard talking. I edited it over to the Drogba's Champions League winning header against Bayern Munich.
Oh, I don't think I've seen that video.
Oh,
Oh, no, I haven't seen it. It's
and that's
watchable.
Didier Drogba seems like Chelsea won their first Champions League. Pre-written ramble.
Pre-written Okay. A new month brings new hope to Port Melbourne after no league wins in April. The month of May comes with new optimism as the Sharks, as they welcome Oakleigh to JL Murphy Reserve. The Cannons, who with 4 wins in their last 6 outings, will bring confidence into this round 10 fixture. Thanks for joining us for this one. My name is Steve Curtin. We look forward to bringing you all the action alongside me in the commentary position for the first time this season. We are together again. Welcome to you, Ed Gooden.
It's so good to be back, Steve. Not just in the NPL Victoria commentary scaffolding, but alongside we're almost Port Melbourne friends. We're almost, well, it seems that I was the only microphone working, Steve. So the wonderful introduction you just gave was Lost in the Wind, which is admittedly faint here at SS Anderson or JL Murphy Reserve. As you said, Oakleigh Cannons versus Port Melbourne. And fun fact, Steve, Port Melbourne have not lost to Oakleigh since 2016, which is pretty astounding, isn't it?
It is indeed 2016, and that was a 27th of May 2016, a 4-1 win for Oakleigh Cannons that day, with Hatzimiratis and Dusan Bosniak on the score sheet sharing the goals in that one. So recent encounters have either been draws or wins for the Sharks. So despite their bad run of results, they might fancy their chances here, Adam Piddick's side.
I mean, Port Melbourne, I'm not going to admit bias towards the Sharkies, but I have a soft spot for them, Steve. So if they were able to pull a win out against Oakleigh Cannons today, it'd be wonderful. The weather here at JL Murphy and in Port Melbourne is astounding. This might be the best May day we've ever seen.
Indeed it is. Well, a new month, first day of May here, and it's good start to the month as well. We're happy with this. The Harley-Davidson riders are also enjoying their time as well today, as you will have heard over our effects mic. And we're underway anyway here at JL Murphy with the Port Melbourne Sharks in their home kit, the splendid red and blue. They're kicking to the right of your screen. Oakleigh Cannons in their change kit. They're playing to the left. Oakleigh Cannons have made no changes to that side that dispatched of the Eastern Lions. 4-1 last week, while Adam Piddick's Port Melbourne Sharks sees a whopping 5 changes, which is headlined by the inclusion of Ross Archibald, who's out there in the number 21 jersey in the heart of their back three, as the play develops here for the Cannons on the far side, with Fashini getting forward from fullback. So we'll give you that lineup first. We'll go with the Oakleigh Cannons lineup first because it's easy with no change. In goal, Nick Feely. Back 4 of Hamish Miller. The captain, Thomas Matthews, Lucas Portelli and Matthew Fashini. The 2 defensive midfield players are Oliver Kuberly, as Port almost come unstuck trying to play out there. Oliver Kuberly and Tyson Holmes. Ahead of those 2, Ryan Pachkowski, Joe Guest and Joseph Knowles. And leading the line, Matthew Thurtell for the Cannons. As there's a foul here for the Sharks, in a good position here, Ed.
Luke Barfarosh, who went down on the right-hand side. He's been a really exciting player for Port Melbourne this season. Don't be mistaken that it's not Carlos Puyol running down the right-hand side. He was starting in defence a little bit earlier in the season, Steve. So interesting to see him moving up the pitch and maybe just spending a little bit more time on ball for Port Melbourne.
Yeah, well, he's got a licence to get forward, and we won't miss him with that hairstyle that he possesses now. One of their more experienced campaigners in the lineup is Chris Kiusis, looks to be the man standing over it. He's got a prodigious left foot, Ed, and we're going to see it in action here in the early moments with this set piece for the Sharks. As he takes a deep breath. It's Kiusis. It's a good delivery, but well handled by that Cannons defence. He's Guest with that great first touch that we see, playing it up to Thurtell. And then on the overlap there, it's Tyson Holmes getting forward. Goes with the cross, but it's straight at Andrew Withers, the man who's replaced Brad Symes in goal for the Sharks this season. Andrew Withers. He moved in from the Eastern Suburbs Club in New Zealand, experiencing all that Melbourne life has to offer. Now here's Ross Archibald making the switch during the week. There's been a lot of activity at Paisley Park, and that's been on the changes of coaches, managers if you like. But now players are coming in and out the door, including Ross Archibald, who's been their skipper this season.
Feels like there was little news as well coming out of Altona in terms of Ross Archibald heading over. I remember he scored a goal a few weeks back, and as we see through on goal here.
It's a chance there, and it just pulled wide over the post. It's John Cole. That chance almost took Cole by surprise. Used his left foot, and it would have been a almost unconventional finish with the left foot into the near post there, side footing it past Nick Feely, but also past the post. So first chance of the game goes to the home side. And tussle in the corner. Ball manages to stay in. Hamish Miller doing some good work. Left fullback for the Cannons. There's that man again getting involved, Barfarosh there. Well, Joe Guest goes into the book, and it's for back chat, Ed. So he said, match referee there said, I'm not having any of that. Getting a stern talking to.
I hope it wasn't relating to the referee's moustache, because it's That is a moustache, correct, on the referee's face?
Well, it's one of the best moustaches I've seen in NPL Victoria this season. And there is a few more getting about these days.
Yeah, I'd also like to note that the linesman on this near side with the wonderful blonde hair used to have even more wonderful blonde hair. And memorably last season, there was an incident where a player ran into him, knocked him over, and he just got straight back up, put the flag up. See you later. So he's trimmed his hair back to a Viking. Joe Guest. Oi.
Well, that chance was... Chris Caduceus came in and just took the chance off the foot of Joe Guest, who was probably quite certain to score otherwise. And we've got Pachkowski over the ball with the corner kick. It's again repelled by the Sharks. In again, a chance almost for Thurtell. And then away by Mells. Thurtell again, just trying to play a bit of keepy-uppy almost on the edge of the 18-yard area. And that one runs long. So we're talking about the officials here today. Lockie Keevers is our man in the middle. Assistant referees Ross Clark and Josh Drakeford. The fourth official is Noah Langerak. Another touch for Archibald. He's had to do his share of defending for Altona so far this season, so he's picking up where he left off so far. Quoll, good turn there and wins the free kick. So, match referee Lockie Keevers recently made his A-League debut as a referee in the recent fixture between MacArthur and the Jets. That's away by Matthews and clears that header over the fence. That's got to be a satisfying feeling. This is Wellsmore fighting for the ball, but eventually losing out. Knowles is now popped up on the left-hand side, usually operating down the right, looking to get around Archibald, using the full length of the pitch and eventually running over the byline. So we're talking about the match officials, Ed. They're wearing blue armbands today. The Football Referees Association of Victoria has decided to make the gesture of the blue armbands to be worn by match officials this weekend, and it's about taking a stand against unacceptable behaviour against match officials, which is something that we see too much of, and no official deserves to be abused when they're just trying to do a good job.
It's just one of those things, isn't it, Stephen? It's a cultural thing that you breed from the top down, I think. So you look at these games, the highest level in Victoria outside the A-League, and then you go all the way down to under 14s, 15s, and just setting the example. So a good message with the blue armbands.
So there you go, Referees Association of Victoria, also tying it in there with the mental health, and it's important to remember that officials are just people going about their business, and the negative impacts of abuses. That's a good ball across there for Fascini. He's getting forward. Matt Fascini. Well, he just dinked that ball up looking for Guest, and he almost found him, but Withers was well positioned to gather that one and clear it away. Now on the far side there, this is one of the new players coming into the team, the number 6, Daniel Edwards, with the blonde hair, operating on the left-hand side of midfield. There he is again, playing the first-time pass. It comes unstuck. Miller looking to surge past Barfarosh. Still he goes, Hamish Miller. Good bit of play by Wellsmore. Wellsmore continuing his run as well. And Barfarosh goes down, not for the first time today. Hamish Miller got stuck into him there.
Wouldn't be surprised if he had a target on his back here, Luke Barfarosh, because he is such a tidy player. And at that type of pace, not surprising that maybe just wrap the legs around, give him a little something, But again, another dangerous position here. Chris Kutsis, the last time he played this ball in, was low to the near post. See if he goes from a different angle here.
Well, the targets are in the middle. One of them is Archibald. And this is Kutsis. It's a decent one. It goes all the way through and bypasses everyone. The closest man there was Anthony Iancello, the number 5. Was the closest to making a touch, and it just needed a touch because it was a fantastic ball in.
It wasn't the best of marking as well from Oakleigh Cannons. There were 2 or 3 Port Melbourne players that were left unmarked. If the ball was just a little bit lower, there could have really been an option there for one of the players to get just any touch in, really, and it would have been a shot on target. Looks like the referee is having another discussion with... Who's that there, Steve?
Well, he's having a chat with the Oakleigh captain, Tom Matthews.
I think it might be relating to a comment made by perhaps one of the Port Melbourne coaching staff or one of the players on the bench. We do know that almost all of the players on the bench are new players for Port Melbourne, so maybe they're just looking to get stuck in, make a name for themselves.
Well, if you can't make an impact in the first half as a substitute, well, maybe the verbal impact is what they're trying to make, trying to put off some of the Oakleigh opponents. Subtle sledging from the dugout, perhaps. As Oakleigh in possession again. That is a decent ball looking for Guest. It would come from Knowles and in for Thurtell, who dives and contorts his body to get on the end of that one. It just manages to squirm wide of Andrew Withers' goal.
I think Matt Thurtell, Steve, is probably, in terms of ratio of height to heading ability, he's up there with one of the better not-so-tall players in terms of how well he can head the ball. Even going back to his Bentley Greens days where we saw him last season, he was just fantastic whenever the ball came in, but you can see him lining up against Ross Archibald there. He's not the tallest of guys, but he manages to always get his noggin on it.
So there you go, Thurtell. Not a big unit, but has managed his 5 goals this season, and he's an aerial threat, as Ed said. As you have to be when you play up top on your own. And good duel there between Quoll and Matthews. Sees the Sharks win the throw. In fact, it is a Cannons throw. But the Sharks will push up to try and box them in here. Pashkowski with the header. And has the second bite of the cherry. Wellesmere forward. Flicked on by Quoll. And Barfarosh has a chance here. And in the end, well read there by Oliver Kuberly. Getting that ball out of danger. But conceding the corner. So it'll be another chance for that lethal left foot of Chris Kutsis. The 29-year-old left wing back. The amount of turnover here at JL Murphy, he is as experienced as anyone out there. And this time he goes short. Kutsis again, plays it in. That one was errant. Touch forward by Archibald. And 2 players looking to run onto it were Quoll and Barfarosh. And, well, we're positioned right in front of the coach's technical areas here, Ed, and there was a bit of fruity language delivered there from one of the coaches.
Fruity, and the Oakleigh coaching staff weren't quite happy with what Adam Piddock had to offer, but it's part of his vocab.
Well, Matthews heads it down. And swings up in the air and onto the roof of the net. We saw there the number 6, Daniel Edwards, involved again, playing as a left midfield, coming inside and causing a few problems. As he combining there with Anthony Iancello.
I think I remember seeing him in the 2019 season, Steve, where he came in as this midfield player, but he was playing centrally, and just his poise on the ball was really, really excellent. So when he does get a chance to spend a bit of time with the ball at his feet, just take note of how composed he is for such a young player.
Reardon with the header. He's the acting captain today. It's Aaron Reardon for the Sharks. Strong tackling in the middle here. Mal's plays it forward. Well read there by Portelli. And here's Edwards again, spraying it out for Kiyusis. Can he get a good ball in? Chris Kiyusis, he goes around his man. Plays a little ball in there. It's Ian Cello. And just in the shadows of those tall willowy trees there, ball runs over the byline, out for a goal kick.
Do we know that they're willows?
Well, the ones either side of the gate have some element of willow to them, I think.
I remember a few weeks ago when I was commentating here with young Bryce Ruthven, we were discussing whether it was a Ford Ranger or a Holden Colorado, and the comment section was very helpful. So if you are watching alongside us in the Facebook Live or on YouTube, please drop your comments below and we'll get to any questions or score predictions that you have.
This is Pashkowski looking to go around his man, which was Wellsmore. And Wellsmore concedes the foul, and the Cannons win a free kick in a promising position here. It's right in front of Chris Taylor's technical area. Now, Guest indicates his intentions with the double-handed gesture. Joseph Knowles and Joe Guest standing over this one. It is Guest. It's driven. Matthews at the back post. Away by Reardon. Edwards. And Qual on the charge. Can he use his pace? He's still got two players ahead of him with not much support. Eventually loses possession, and the Cannons try and come again. Third tail can't lock that one in, and Archibald mops up. Kiyusis doesn't waste any time in getting it forward. Portali back to Feely, who goes long. Then hands in the back there by Ross Archibald, and the Cannons will win the free kick right in the centre of JL Murphy Reserve. Taken quickly by Holmes. Gets it back from Fashini. Time for Matthews. It's a decent ball looking for Miller, who advanced from the fullback position and it just runs a bit long. And Miller gallops back to his left fullback position. So if you've just joined us, 5 changes to that Port Melbourne side. And we'll give you that lineup now. In goal is Andrew Withers. Outfield players Emlyn Wellsmore, Aaron Reardon, Anthony Anchello, Daniel Edwards, Matthew Tumanopoulos, George Mells, Christopher Kiyusis, Luke Barfarosh, Ross Archibald, the new signing from Altona Magic, and John Qual, making the starting 11 for the Sharks today. A new look team. There's no Chris Duggan, no Omar Amash, no Liston Diaz, no Christian Bombachi, who was sent off last week. It was Bombachi at Heidelberg in that 3-1 loss, receiving 2 yellow cards. He also got credited with an own goal on the Sports TG website, which I feel, looking at the replay, he's got claims to say, well, that wasn't actually his. Good play here by Barfarosh. He's got past Miller. Gets a good ball in. It's Edwards. Can he bring it down? Went for the unselfish approach. And Holmes is back to mop up. Third towel, the two former Bentley Greens combine. Fashini. Knowles looking to find Guest with the first time pass. Couldn't quite get it past Tumanopoulos.
Having a look around the grounds here, Steve. We've got 2 other games going on alongside us here. We've got Eastern Lions against Altona Magic. The Lions take a 1-0 lead through a penalty just a few minutes ago. And South Melbourne hosting Hume City at Lakeside. They took the lead in the 9th minute, so 1-0 there for the top of the table, South Melbourne.
Low ball in, and in the end it was driven into the waiting hands of Andrew Withers from that cross by Knowles. So there you go, South Melbourne looking the good so far, and from an equity point of view, I guess it's good to see the Eastern Lions getting on the board with an early goal as they also did, though, last week against the Cannons, which didn't work out so well. That's an excellent ball from Archibald to Barfrosh. First time cross. Edwards goes to ground. He's been barged to the ground, and that will be a penalty kick for the Sharks. Lockie Keever's in, no doubt, pointed straight to the spot after the challenge by Fashini. It was shoulder to shoulder.
It's a fantastic effort there by Edwards because he's taken the touch, so he had control of the ball, but then he was brought down, in my opinion, Steve, by Fashini. As the shoulder-to-shoulder contact was there, but I think a foot was raised. Either way, Port Melbourne now in a fantastic position to take the lead in the 23rd minute. After, it has to be said, they've had some fantastic play down this right-hand side. It's again come from Barfarosh after a great ball through from the Port Melbourne defenders. Who's that taking the penalty there, Steve?
Well, we're waiting for the whistle, and the player's number is obscured, but it is Feely looking to make the save. The goal is good. It's George Mells, tucked it away as confidently as you would like there, Ed.
George Mells, a fantastic penalty in the bottom left-hand corner, and Port Melbourne taking a really pivotal 1-0 lead as they've looked like a really interesting side. Like I said, going down this right-hand flank. Edwards there winning the penalty for his side, and then former A-League player George Mells tucking it away in the bottom left-hand corner.
Well, it was a composed finish by Mells, but credit there to the youngster Daniel Edwards coming into the Sharks team for the first time today. One of those 5 changes. He made it all happen. Not to mention a good bit of work down the right-hand side by your man there, Ed, Luke Barfarosh.
I feel like he is my man a little bit. For those in the comments, please let me know if I'm showing too much bias to Luke Barfarosh, because I am. He's just so noticeable. And he's just, like, again, we're going to see the ball come down this right-hand side. And there's just so much space here. I was going to say before that Port just have a lot of room when the ball's being played around in these areas.
Well, he goes Barfarosh again, but it's well won eventually there by Oliver Kubelet, who had to track back after conceding a bit of territory in behind him, which allowed Barfarosh the chance to run into. But he's looking sharp out there, Luke Barfarosh. He's got the blue wrist tape, the hair is flowing, and those lime green boots, perhaps with a shade of yellow in there too on those boots, looking very sharp. As now the Sharks looking to build a bit of confidence here. Ball over the top for Wellsmore, which was Mells was involved in the through pass initially, and he gets it again here from Barfarosh. This is Edwards, first time pass. Wellsmore, can he keep it in? Well, it was a valiant attempt. He was unable to retrieve that one, but good slick play by the Sharks.
Those at home could hear Adam Pittock saying, where's the pocket? They definitely found the pocket there with Daniel Edwards, who was just able to, on that left-hand side, a little bit too forceful for Wellsmore, who's playing that attacking right-back role. But for Oakleigh, Steve, I think they just need to be a bit more switched on between the defenders and the midfield. A little bit too much space in between. They can close that up. It gives an opportunity for them to spend a bit more time on the ball.
Well, here's Edwards again, and he finds Mells to turn and change direction here. George Mells is looking to find that man again. It's Wellsmore. Wellsmore, he's playing on the right-hand side of that back three, and he's just taken the last few moments to try and get forward and then allow Luke Barfarosh, who Ed earlier pointed out is comfortable as a defender, to just cover him. In fact, it looks like they've just switched positions temporarily, at least, anyway, for the moment. Pashkowski looking to take on Barfarosh, and it's a good sliding challenge on the touchline there. And despite the good challenge, Adam Pittock still got some things to say to make sure his Sharks are switched on.
Who's resting their legs if they switch positions? The defender or the striker, do you think? Or the attacking winger?
Well, it's a great hypothetical as Guest gets on the ball. Portelli. Guest dropping deeper into his own half almost. Miller. Now Guest on the surge. Another good sliding challenge, this time from Wellsmore. Well, I'm going to speculate here and say the player resting their legs is probably the player who drops into defence.
You think so? I mean, if they're resting Barfarosh here, he's a bit unlucky.
Also, depends on the context of the game in terms of possession. If you're having low amounts of possession, you will be getting worked overtime. Guest brought that one down. He had a couple more touches than he intended, but he does win the corner kick. So Oakleigh feeling a bit stung by that goal that they conceded. Trailing here. It was a good finish by Malves from 12 yards. And it's Joe Knowles to take the corner kick. It's floated into the back post. It's over everybody. And Guest was bearing down on that one. When he gets a full head of steam up, he's hard to stop.
It's a scary man. He's like a little train when he's running through. And then that left foot is pretty devastating when he can pump one in. He hasn't had much of an opportunity, though, so far this game. I think the Thurtell-Joe Guest partnership it has the potential to be one of the more devastating ones in the league this season. And you've seen glimpses of it, but nothing too convincing so far today or for the whole season, if we're being frank.
And Knowles' ball goes into the area, and it's away by Reardon. Another chance for Knowles to take the volley. It was easily blocked, though. Back in by Matthews. Looking to find Miller. He's got Knowles here. Joe Knowles. And booking here for Knowles. He and Aaron Reardon came together. And I could feel the ankle ligaments being stretched from here.
Adam Piddock was fast off his feet as he made the assumption that the penalty was being awarded to Oakleigh. But as soon as the yellow card came out, had a feeling that it was going to Joe Knowles. Physio being called.
Well, I think we'll take a look at our replay screen here, but it was Aaron Reardon who was the first man in there, so and it was Knowles coming in to affect the challenge, so that's the way a decision went. And certainly a warm day out here, as Ed said earlier. It's 24 degrees. We've got one or two players looking to rehydrate now, midway through this first half. So we just look at the replay again here. And definitely it was Aaron Reardon who got his foot to the ball and cleared the ball before the contact was made.
Played a side-footed pass, actually, in the end. Pretty good effort. I don't think Joe Knowles had any intention of taking the man out, just reaching in for the ball. If anything, it actually looked like he was jumping out of the way. So a yellow card could potentially be a little bit harsh in this situation.
Well, there was one or two Port Melbourne players suggesting that we might have needed to see a substitution there, but Aaron Reardon is back up on his feet. Matthews with the header. Edwards. Good ball over the top by Barfrosh, and it very nearly found John Quoll. Well read by the experienced Tom Matthews. Header by Guest. Holmes with the switch. And it's all Sharks over there. Kiusis. You almost thought about lining up a shot there, Ed. 1-2 with Edwards. One or two tricks in the corner, but he's got two opponents to beat, so he just knocks it back there. As the Sharks look to find an opening, which almost came off. Guest. Bit of space here down the right. Almost for Knowles. It was that man again, Wellsmore, getting across. Wellsmore. No nonsense from Archibald. Matthews with the header. Straight through there was Anthony Ancello. Made that ball his. Fashini now. Galloping forward. It's the cross for Thurtell. He couldn't quite get any purchase on it. It was a little bit too high for him there, Ed.
It's the what we were talking about before with the height, but if that ball's played into feet there for Matt Thurtell, I think he's got a really good opportunity to swivel and get a shot off, but not quite happening for Oakleigh today.
Well, Pachkowski's cross is blocked. Might have been a handball there against Barfarosh. Port Melbourne's coach Adam Piddick, he rides every bump out there over the whole 90 minutes. As you will hear at home.
We say this every week as well. He wears white shoes to the games, and they're as clean as the first game I saw him in 2 years ago. I don't know if he's got 11 different pairs, but he maintains them very well.
This is Knowles with delivery this time. And it goes over for the corner kick, so in the end, good defending by the Sharks, but it was a close call as the quality on the ball was excellent from Joe Knowles. And Thurtell was lurking in there. So what does a good, clean pair of sneakers say about a coach?
Maybe that if he's... We'll talk about it after the corner.
In comes the corner. It's low, away by Edwards. Holmes just strikes the cross on the volley. Or the switch, should I say. Fashini. And the Sharks struggling to clear their lines here. Concede the corner kick.
So in terms of the shoe discussion, Steve, I think the whiteness of the kick shows that if he is getting up and kind of, yelling at his team, it's with a certain amount of self-awareness. So he's not rushing, he's not getting his shoes dirty. He's controlled in his potentially manic state. Control.
I would say discipline as well, keeping them well-maintained shoes and a well-maintained team. Corner in by Guest. It's all the way in and it goes all the way through. And Withers went to ground. No foul was given. That one could have almost crept in at the far post there. It wasn't far away. Bypassed everyone. And Andrew Withers is wondering what's going on there because he thinks he's felt contact and no foul given.
Well, he said it was Joe Guest taking the corner, Steve, but Joe Guest was actually on the end of the corner on that left-hand side, and he was very, very close to getting a touch. Withers still down, potentially slightly winded, maybe a clashing of bodies in the penalty area, but he's back on his feet, electing to go with the shorts and the short sleeve combination, which maybe it's the fact that he's wearing green and then black. It looks kind of interesting. I'm not exactly sure why.
It is an unusual goalkeeping kit, but each to their own. The New Zealander, green and black are his colours of choice. Well, perhaps he doesn't have the choice. Perhaps it's provided to him, which is probably also a fair point as well. Archibald, can he head this one back to his keeper? He does. And, well, he's in the wars here. He's been cleaned up for a second time in as many minutes as Andrew Withers. And there's no card coming out, which is a big surprise, Ed.
The lack of card there, I think, is very, very strange. But the referee might have had a different angle. Maybe Thurtell took a tumble and then ended up going to the goalkeeper. But Withers is really taking a battering here in the last 5 or so minutes.
Yeah, it appeared from this angle, at least, that Thurtell had ample opportunity to pull out of that challenge when he saw that it was going to be headed back to Andrew Withers, but perhaps that 1-goal deficit, that bit of extra fuel on the fire, he went all the way through and collided with Withers, who bounced back up to his feet a little bit quicker than the previous incident. Now Thurtell with a flick on here for Guest. Archibald and Guest go into the area. Archibald needs to be careful here. And Knowles, can he get the curler? Joe Knowles! Well, that was a quality effort by Knowles, and it wasn't far away there from Withers' goal.
It was almost a picturesque Oakleigh Cannons goal with Thurtell heading the ball onto Joe Guest, and then he's cut inside, played it back to Knowles, and then on the devastating cut inside. So close. But just sailing over the crossbar, and it's really been the story of Oakleigh's day today, Steve, when they're putting things together but not quite finding the final product.
As the Sharks, they're content sitting on this 1-0 lead. If you just joined us, George Mells was the scorer from the penalty spot after the penalty was won by young Daniel Edwards. But definitely the team doing the bulk of the attacking in this match has been the men in white. That's the Oakleigh Cannons. Definitely going in hot favourites into this one. Oakleigh Cannons making no change to their team that cleaned up the Eastern Lions 4-1 last week. While the Sharks, who are already struggling, no wins at all in the league in April, have had to make 5 changes, including some key players who are out. But Mells is one of their stars as he just looks to dictate play here. There's Tumanopoulos just sitting in behind him in front of the back three. Kiusis throws the dummy. Mells. Barfarosh, if he could just get the touch on there, he was going to score. The quality there from George Mells, we saw it again.
You mentioned the quality. Just a stunning ball. So much pace on him. Barfarosh did really well to read it. Just a little bit too far for him, but good to see Port Melbourne playing a little bit of build-up play as well, playing the ball back to the defence, resetting, playing inside. It's exactly what Adam Pittock is wanting from his side.
Free header there by Wellsmore. Knowles. There's a switch looking for Fashini. Well read there by Edwards. And if you're wondering who's in reserve on the sidelines today for Port Melbourne, the substitutes include Isaac Reed, Jacob Herbert, Max Branov, Atticus Gonzalez, and Evan Marco Giankis. For the Cannons, on the bench, Christopher Gregory, Anthony Pantazopoulos, Wade Decker, Marcus Dimanche, and Damon Stevens.
How's that for an impact player off the bench, Steve, in Wade Decker? Port Melbourne, we mentioned at the start of the broadcast, very young substitutes bench. Even in the starting 11, you see 2 young players in Barfarosh and Edwards, but exciting to see some different players coming off the bench for Port. Joe Knowles with a speculative,
well,
to say the least.
Doesn't mind pulling the trigger from downtown there. Joe Knowles, that's the quality he's got, to the audacity to attempt such things. Not successful on this occasion.
Successful in wowing the commentary box still, even if it doesn't go in.
That's right. The game's just going through a bit of a lull late in this first half, and we're just waiting for someone to spark it back into action. Upfield by Miller. Free headed by Kiusis. Ian Shallow brings it down, and it was a hefty pass backwards. Reardon using the full width of JL Murphy here. Tumanopoulos. And he's fouled there in front of the players' race. Didn't hear the whistle go from our commentary position, but we saw the signal at least.
No need for the whistle to go there. Just a good old-fashioned shove in the back.
Get on with it, and that's what Port Melbourne do. This is Emlyn Wellsmore. Mells. So good at finding space, George Mells. Sharks are all the way back. Withers testing his foot skills. And Adam Pittock gets a touch there as we get a glimpse of those shiny white shoes, as I said, which is an indicator of discipline.
Good thing is we're not on the ABC, Steve, so we can say that they are Lacoste.
I was about to say it myself, so there you go. I'm sure the auntie would love to broadcast a bit of NPL Victoria action on the weekend. Provided the commentary team doesn't make too many appearances in Media Watch as Joe Knowles lines up the corner kick. Do your jobs is the call from Adam Pittock. In comes the corner, double fisted by Withers. Does come back in. Headed by Pashkowski. And again, it's repelled by the Sharks' defence. Holmes. It's a good ball under the feet of Qual. Fashini floats it in, and Withers hung in the air momentarily there and dragged that ball in. Ian Cello almost winning the foul there. Play goes on. Well, the aerial duels continue in the centre circle as the ball now comes to ground. Archibald with the header. Picked up by Guest. This is Joe Guest. Out wide is a great chance for the Cannons. I don't know how they didn't score there. Joe Knowles popping up on the left this time, drilling that ball across the 6-yard box. And it got a touch from nobody.
Oakleigh looking dangerous in these situations now, Steve. Just before we're about to head into half-time, Adam Pittock was emphasising the fact that the midfielders weren't dropping back. And it might have just been a miscommunication between Tumanopoulos and the other Port Melbourne midfielders there not to have somebody back. But you see how devastating Oakleigh can be when they do get into those spaces between the defence and the midfield.
Well, Archibald won that towering header, and then there was just so much space for Joe Knowles to pick up that ball and run at the Sharks back three. It almost came unstuck with Joe Knowles. He's now operating on the left-hand side, so he's switched sides with Pashkowski. Ball in. Strong header by Reardon. As Holmes goes to ground. Just outside the area. So another chance for the Cannons in the dead ball situation. Were they lucky to get that foul there, Ed?
I will use my Fifth Amendment rights here, Steve, which I believe is no comment.
Well, it's an excellent call by yourself. And we will not comment about the referee's decision on this occasion. Now, it looks like Guest is standing over it again. Looking to roast this one with the left peg. There's a crowded 6-yard box. I won't say penalty area because most of those players are actually within the 6-yard box. Guest driven in low, away by Tumanopoulos, who did well there. The ball didn't have the anticipated heat on it that I thought it might have had.
A little bit of heat. Tumanopoulos did very well to get his head down and not get that awful feeling where you get it right on the top of your don'ts. You still managed to get your forehead on it.
Well, here come the Cannons again. Ball into the box, bypasses everyone. It was a cross from a wide and distant area by Kuberly. Kuberly, the 21-year-old, last played his club football in Turkey before arriving at the Cannons. For Göztepe. As the Sharks look to hang on until half-time with their 1-0 lead. Strong header by Miller. The intensity going up now. There's a head tennis. Ball forward by Holmes, and chance here for Pashkowski. He was maybe too unselfish. Penalty shouts waved away. Well, it looked like it could have been a penalty being awarded to the Cannons there, Ed.
It's a very difficult call there for Lockie in the refereeing shirt, and the Oakleigh Cannons bench are up in arms with the decision, but a tough one as both players came together against the ball. Such a difficult call.
Holmes' ball in to the back post looking for Thurtell, and a good claim by Withers. He's had a good game so far, Withers.
Andrew Withers has put in a top-notch performance in this first half. Maybe not making the spectacular saves, but just getting everything right. Double fists, he's catching long balls, he's copping body to body. He's had a great performance so far.
Well, Miller does well there. Back to his skipper, who clears long, does Matthews, and Pashkowski will take the throw in. In fact, Hamish Miller will get the ball rolling again for Holmes. He's taking on Wellsmore, and there was just a little bit of shirt grabbing there, says Lockie Keevers, as we are now into the final minute of this first half. One additional minute added on. Fourth official there in front of us, Noah Langerak, holding the board aloft. So perhaps one more chance from the set piece here for the Oakleigh Cannons to level things up before half-time. It's Joseph Knoll standing over it. It's in and low. And Paskowski away by Quall. Volley by Fashini. And another great save by Withers. And the second follow-up. Fantastic goalkeeping. Fashini just about deserved a goal for that volleyed effort.
We didn't mention the fact that Andrew Withers hadn't made those spectacular saves, but there's one for the first half to round out a fantastic performance. Fashini with a really decent effort. The ball coming up a little bit too high for a powerful shot, but he did really well. And that is the end of the first half. Here's Steve at SS Anderson Reserve. A cagey last 10 minutes. For those just joining us, it was George Mells from the penalty spot to give Port Melbourne a lead. And then a late penalty shout for Oakleigh. Thrown out the window by the referee. But exciting second half to come.
Well, that penalty kick by George Mells is the difference that keeps these sides separated by one goal at half-time. We look forward to the second half. And will Oakleigh Cannons' Sharks curse continue for a fifth year? Please come back and join us in about 15 minutes' time. Both Ed Gooden and myself, Steve Curtin, we look forward to bringing you an exciting second half from JL Murphy, where at half-time it's Port Melbourne 1, Oakleigh Cannons 0.